Hello and welcome everyone to the 437th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 16th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond. I'll be a host today for Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be once again here to deliver today's knowledge and teaching. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin today?
Yes. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers, Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute series of teachings, sharing knowledge, understanding more, and somewhere we might be able to elevate our knowledge or elevate our understanding of the work of the universe or work of the man. The work of the man finishes with rockets, food on the table, worries about the life, the electricity, and inflation and whatever we see nowadays going around the world. And the life in the universe goes on how much I can give more, how much I can increase what we call the elevation of the soul of the man. And in that process, we go forward. I welcome you back all. Be with what we go and we teach and what we see as part of the growth of the Keshe Foundation public teaching. In the past days and weeks, as many of you are aware, we have put the knowledge of the teachings, even what it was in the intro of today, to work, to show what we thought months and years ago now can actually be realized. When I listen to this intro, now that we have built the systems, now that we have put people through the system, brings so much reality to it. Up to now, in excess of around about 45, 50 knowledge seekers, their friends and their family have gone through the process of experimenting everything which was in the intro. Dimension of the physicality, dimension of the soul of physicality, and dimension of soul of the. And we listen to them when they come out. We listen to what they go through, and very interesting figures are coming up. Next week, we're going to have the first space party. And the following week again, on 28th, 29th, we'll have a space party. The party is done one day. Primarily, the Italians are bringing their wine and the guitars and what I call whatever they like, headed by the Universal Council member. And then we, for the first time, go through and see how people come in, how they go through the process. And in a way, we are changing the decoration for them to be able to spend a whole 10-hour, 12-hour session in the environment of the space of the fields of the universe. Up to now, when you entered what we call the test zones, where we have the enhancement units, you primarily, as you know by now, you enter the room and you're faced with 3 chairs on either side. Originally, we commissioned 1 unit. This week, we commissioned 2 units. And we have a think about 3-4 meter space gap here. So the process has been, you come in through 1, 2, 3. Some of you go through as a passenger, some of you go as the captain in one, some of you go test both of it, and then go back on the reverse of 3 to 1, and you come out. Next week, with the Italians and us living in Italy for some 5 or 6 years, knowing the mentality and whatever, we have given an Italian all-day party. Which means when you come into the room, you go in through the process, you decide to take the flight, or you decide to join the party. You have the same option whole day to try different combination. We are observers of the passengers. In a way, the studio becomes a spaceship of man. We put about 30, 35 people. On the 29th, we have the beautiful people from different countries, the French joining us, hopefully, and hopefully people from beautiful island of Malta, and maybe from two other countries. So the next, on 29th, is an international party. We wanted to see the stages of how people take position. We've seen 20% of the people who come through the system, they say they felt nothing. There's no difference. We said, okay, there is no difference. 20% of the people achieve part of what they came. That's no problem. We see around about 40, 50% do the space travel, but they're not interested whatsoever. We see 10% which can't, they don't want to travel. 20% what? They just come in to go through the experience. The first thought which puzzled us at the beginning, the 20% come in, and if you're nothing, we didn't say anything, we watched. We invited 1 or 2 back in the last 2 weeks, and the thing has changed. Then we realized what the problem is. I don't want nothing. I want the system to show me what it can do with me. I'm a thief, and I put on, oh, I felt nothing. I came with no intention, but I wanted to see. I want to take. I'm still a thief, but I come in a different disguise. The other ones who see some come in, they go through the one phase. They're still aware they're here to see something. The system takes partially in interaction with them, and they get frightened that this is comes. I have to admit, I've done something, I've seen something. Oh, I felt this and that. So we've seen the progress. We see 50% of the people who actually go through a very profound understanding. They see their soul by the seat number 3 expanding. They tell us that they are aware of their physicality, but it's not what they see, it's just a layer on it. There is a separation between them and the space. They're aware of the sound, they're aware of, they don't hear no conversation. Most of these people don't hear most of it. They hear an instruction through the ear of the physicality, but the soul is extended beyond them, and they just follow things. And we see some which going through this process, as we say, the soul expands and extends beyond the physicality. We see magics. We see conditions which is very strange. We now know what to look for in SID 2. We know what we see in SID 1, and we see the evolution of expansion of soul in 3. Some people who come with all sorts of kind of having problems, but they were so intensely involved to go to the moon, they don't go to the moon. They come out of the system, and they might go somewhere flying. And then we ask them what happened. Nothing. I just went somewhere. Oh, by the way, I had a pain for years here, and I had this over there for years. It's not there. What happened? We explain easy. The extension of the soul balances the whole of the what we call the environment. We are not here to kill. We are here to show how you can expand it. This is what we said: when the soul expands the boundary of the physicality, it puts everything right. I watched, gentlemen, people here know who I'm talking about, that you came in as a team with a doctor, and he went through the system and he came and says, nothing happened. But you know something, now I couldn't raise my hand. Now I can touch my back and everywhere. It's gone. The expectation came to go to space, but the body was not there. Body was there to see his own operation. We had a case yesterday. You hear it recording. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we have the testimonial number 3 of this week. And we try to confine it in 2 hours. This week has been mainly Germans, next week is Italians, and then the week after we have other communities. So I've seen a number of Iranians have registered to come in, join us. And we see from other nationalities are just coming in. We are getting fully booked, and do not expect from next week when you come in to see me there. Keshe Foundation team is there to get you to. We had experience yesterday. A lady registered in Dutch, in Holland, paid through the foundation, and she says she's doing a friend. They turned up to be 4 Belgians. We refuse entry. Getting a Dutch or a French to register you to come in as a Belgian does not qualify you. They were very disappointed. They were dear friends when we were in Belgium. I know 2 or 3 of them. They attended a number of the lectures, but no Belgians allowed within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. Please do not play games with us. You'll be disappointed. They had to sit there nearly 4 or 5 hours. They traveled 900 kilometers and they had to leave. We don't even show the exhibition to you. Please do not embarrass us and yourself. We respect you as a Belgian knowledge seekers, but our security and protection of the knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation is bigger than some individuals. When one of the knowledge seekers went through the system with no expectation and as to see what the system is, she had what we call shingles apparently for 7 years, and she came to fly. The soul expands. I stood in front of her to understand her experience, how we can fix the machine, and she said, my face, there's no pain, it's all gone. My shingle is gone. There's a bit of nerves here I can still feel, but I can touch my face. There's no more pain. Been there for 7 years. We put her to the second time flight system, and she tells us more or less everything is gone. And I explained, this is not a healing machine. This is the expansion of the soul, which in traveling to expand beyond the dimension of physicality, balances everything on its way. You take whatever you need, you're short of, be it food, you're hungry, be it emotion of love, be it the emotion of expectation to see more. So we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen a lot of developments. These systems, if you've been there once, they be opened up to today, you see some significant differences. For next 2 or 3 weeks, we adjust. We are testing that we can go to the next phase of space, deeper space travel. When we are ready, when our equipment don't fail us here and there, and in a way we eliminate 90% of the what we call development testing, we are preparing our system to allow the physicality to travel within the confinement of the soul of the man. What does this mean? Is as we speak with many of the people, the 50% plus, they tell you that they feel the presence, they see the expansion of the soul. They go through all kinds of emotion and experiences. They see their father passed away 20 years ago in front of them, and they enjoy the presence. They see the child which was passed away in the young age. The mother sees the soul of the child, what she was yearning for 10 years. We see the change in the dimension of physicality. We see the expansion of the soul of the man. When you go into the flight system simulation, we see the same. If you went, you're that part of 50%, it expands. It allows, now you hear things, but most of them, they say, we are not aware of anything because the noise is a muffled noise in the background, because now the soul has covered the physicality. It's like putting earphones onto your head, somebody speaking outside. That earphone is the dimension of the soul of the man. Then we see the same process back from one chair to another. The systems are not the same. The systems are set totally different. This system has set to, as I said before, create rotational dimension. This is set to create rotational dimension. We restructure the system. Our systems from next couple of weeks are created, are developed to be able to take the soul of the man, the soul of physicality of the man, and the physicality of the man in and out of the environmental systems. Which means we use the expansion of the soul to travel the span of the universe. If you need, manifest the physicality and bring you back. We going through development. We have invited NASA scientists, the Iranian space scientists, the Chinese, and we are inviting world scientists to join us. Yesterday we had the pleasure of doctors. This week we had quite a big percentage scientists and world of medicine with us. In some of the interviews, they might introduce themselves. They come to see. They come to evaluate the knowledge. And I think Tuesday we had 4 of them, or 5 of them with us. And that's about 30% of the people come in. Yesterday we had a few. And next week, we don't know what we're going to get with Italians. And in that process, we have to learn how change the dimension of the, what we call the units, into the dimension of the room. Keep you in the environment of the Jupiter, keep you in the environment of the Venus, keep you in the environment of the planet Zeus. And see how many of you, being in this environment so long, what they'll give you. One thing to the Italians, do not come in and go out, I need a smoke. When you go out for a smoke, you don't come back in, your session is over. Make sure when you're invited to this structural field, you stay within the structural field. This is why we allow you to party. We want to see by the close of the time is not you being there half an hour. You arrive about 10:30 into the room. By the time you get about 12 hours, you've got 5 or 6 hours to enjoy. Some of you might not be and feel the 20%. Some of you don't feel anything the first time. You see the second time, you get maybe to the others. Maybe by the end of the day, some of those who felt nothing, they become everything. They understand the knowledge. We had a knowledge seeker. He's on the line, and he knows who he is. He came he was the first person going through the system, and he said, "I feel nothing." I said, "You're part of the structure of Keshe Foundation. Stay." He stayed till yesterday. and he had to go back home. So he went through 4 days of, every time, different conditions. Because, as I said, he came to get the knowledge of the universe. His condition was, he came to understand knowledge of the universe. He didn't come to give. He went through traumas of all sorts in past week, and I watched him because he came back every time we did the session. Yesterday, before he goes to fly out, I gave him a seat in the, what we call, in the corridor here. And he sat there for about an hour. And he was explaining to me about his emotional and the things he's seen, he dreamt for the past few days and everything. And when he sat in there, in the last minutes, as we all were walking everywhere, he was still carrying and testing or whatever, he said, I got the knowledge. I got what I came here for. I see the light. I see the beginning of. I understood something. Because something happened in front of him and he told it, but I still am sure he hasn't understood exactly what is going on. But he said he gained what he came here for. Start learning about the knowledge. But it took him 4 days. Now it's coming a bit. We had again the same gentleman from Lens, beautiful young gentleman, came on Friday, last person. And he said, I felt nothing. I said, come next week. Find a time, come on Tuesday. He came yesterday morning, I'll put him through. And he said, when sitting through the seeds, he felt different. He could feel the energies and everything else. Because the first time he came with nothing happens, no expectation, he actually expected because he wanted to see something. He wasn't there to give. And so you have 5 hours to become environmental passengers of the universe. NASA makes swimming pool and throws people in to test the space, 2 or 3 people with 20 people watching them, hanging them from cranes with the clothing of the moon. We create the space of the plasma, the ocean of the universe for you to walk in. Anybody touches any of the systems, you're out. Italians, make sure the wine does not take away your physicality. We are there to observe how the system affects you. We are there to observe if any of you Italians are actually not Italians. We have seen 2 near misses of opening up. I've been in the room when I see. Still control. I'm sure if these 2 come back, I have invited them in a devious way to come in for themselves, not devious way for us, that they understand they can trust to be themselves amongst men. We might see them, they might show the true nature of their origin. They tell us, but they don't understand why they went through this. In a way, they saw their own citizens. They saw the places and the citizens of the universe which they are part of. They tell us in their talk, because the physicality watched when the soul was trying not to divulge, not to release information. They tell us they've been with other creatures and they explain to us what it is. In a way, in the universe, we'll see others. But when we end up in the middle of only one race and we are with them and we feel at home, we are them. We are part of them. It's for us to open up and become them, not only with them, but in the space of the man. We have seen what we have promised. We have seen many of you coming in, being ashamed of talking about what has happened, because it's not normal. Man to be in control of his dreams, man to be in control of the physicality, soul engaging the physicality, and they tell us step by step. In a way, we have brought in knowledge of the man to the freedom of the man. In the next few weeks, we go to the next. Understanding the process is a fundamental part of the work of the Keshe Foundation. We are not here to show magic. We are here to be part of the magic. Many of you will start seeing the work of the Keshe Foundation in a deep way. You will experience, and then the beauty of it is when you leave the room, when you leave the space of the exhibition center, you find out you still have connection. And the beauty of it is, as more and more people come in, and they add to the knowledge of the, what I call Wikipedia of the man's knowledge and those from the space, many of you find out you get to know answers to a lot of things without reading about it. And you think it's your intelligence. My dear friends, no. You have connected to universal knowledge. The same way as we saw with our knowledge seekers who left yesterday. When you understand you cannot abuse it, it's there for you to enjoy the knowledge and benefit by it, doesn't matter in which dimension, then you start becoming the citizen of the universe, where you can tap into the knowledge of the universe. We are here to bring a fundamental change and total understanding of the process of creation, nothing else. We're not magicians, we're scientists. And we got to understand in the process of what we call evolution, we as knowledge seekers are and have to be that knowledge seeker. We seek knowledge to understand more about ourselves and more about what we do and more about what we say and how things will change one way or another for all of us. The process which we see in the enhancement unit is the process of the natural, neutral process that many citizens of the universe travel. Those who choose the UFOs, they go around jumping around like a monkey, different places to see more. Those who don't want to be that monkey, they travel with the mission of the soul and they manifest themselves anywhere at any time. We have seen a number of knowledge seekers who went through the process and they go from Moon to Mars. Oh, we don't want to go to Mars. We want to go to Jupiter, or we go to Mars and then Jupiter. And the beauty of it is, if you go from Earth to Mars or to Saturn, let's say Mars, I think it takes about how many months to travel together. And if you get the landing right, if you don't roll at the end, as we've seen with the Israelis flights and we've seen with the Indians trying to land here and there, and the Americans and the Russians, they didn't get it right the first time. It takes you weeks and months and years of preparation. And the interesting thing is, you heard it in one of the first recordings, we went there and I took them to the sun. Action is instantaneous. And one of the funny thing is, yesterday we put the husband and wife through the system. The wife was saying nothing, not much happened. And just before they leave, husband and wife talking to each other. I think you'll see them on the recording of the today. Both scientists, doctors, one of them. She says, I was with him. He told me something, what he did, and I was there with him. I went with him. Because when they were in a room, both sitting in the unit, I told them, take your flight. And you are the captain. Take your passengers. There are 4 friends together. 2 couples. Or a couple and 2 friends. And now we can take passengers. And 2 can see the same thing. When you go to the park, we don't both look at the same tree. One looks up, one looks down, one looks at the bird, one looks at the ground. But you know the other one is there. And yesterday, it's the second time we had this confirmation that they're together. They've seen the same scenery. So we see how we can travel together. And that was like a gift just before they leave. And it shows that many of the Italians might go to the same place. Oh, they can travel to Mars, to June, Jupiter, and wherever they like and come back. But it's instantaneous. You don't need to wait 7 months to go and 7 months to come back. Take the soul, move into Mars, see what is the physicality on Mars you need, enjoy the ground, take the energy from the universe so you can survive. And from Earth, I want to go back home. I have a fingerprint. I can be recognized by the fields of my fingerprint. I'm going to go home. And it's instantaneous, not 7 months. And the beauty of it is, with all the ones who've gone through the system, they tell you without fail, when they enter 3, they know the journey is over. And when they get to 1, before they come out, they tell you something very interesting. The weight of the physicality takes over, and they feel the weight of their body. Up to chair 1, the process from here was weightlessness. They don't feel their body. They tell you they might feel their legs, but when they go to the next stage, there is nothing. There's nothing. There's no weight. And if they allow the physicality to come in, they feel something, and they go back in again. In a way, what we set out to do through test and confirmation comes in. I had a bit interesting, what I call text from one of our knowledge seekers who is continuously in touch with us and showers us with a lot of information. It's beautiful what we get. Mr. Keshe, they tell you what you like to hear. Mr. Keshe is not there. They tell themselves what they've seen, what they went through. They don't come there for Mr. Keshe. They come there for themselves. And we are listeners to the journey. If we don't like something, we reject it. And if we like it, it's through the ears of us. We are independent knowledge seekers. We are there to listen. I'm there like very much like a, I call it a couple interrogation. I want to know what you saw. It's like a custom officers, like the security when they land at the airport. You went to China, what did you see? Did you see this? Did you see that? What did they do? I'm more or less that custom officer. Want to know what you've seen, what you've been, and I accept all of it. I'm not the judge of it. And we usually, 2 of us, we stand and listen. Because then we understand the experience, then we know how we need to adjust systems, what we've seen in what section, what needs to be added, what it needs to be done. This week, you didn't see it last week, we have installed the field detection systems which we developed in Switzerland some years ago, and we use it for 129 tests. Now they have come into the room. We test and measure the fields. Are we in a plasma field state or in matter state plasma, and where? I explained to you in the past few days, last time, that we bend and about the noise. Our knowledge seekers now start doing it when they're in the room. Some of them, they bend to see where the noise is, where is the maximum field, and they tell you where they feel the noise, where they see the interaction of the fields of one unit with that. So you experience what we experience, you go through what we go through. And it's time in what we heard in the intro to be seen in reality by systems. To be seen and to be tested, and for us, for the first time, to feel, to know, to confirm the existence of us. We welcome you all to the, what we call test center. We welcome you all to be part of this trial. And in the near future, some of you will become those who physically can take steps in the depth of the universe and maybe bring things back for us physically that we can see. We are not here to do magic. We are here to add and extend to the knowledge of the man in a correct way, done in the support of everything by the way. I have shown my fingerprint, how I work over years. And you've seen it, but you have not realized it. I don't interfere. I explain. And if the knowledge seeker understands it and do most of it right, they'll get the result. And I've shown this over and over again. We did this with Naomi. I explained what needs to be done. And Giovanni step by step followed the procedure, plus adding the exact knowledge to it. And we've seen how the brain missing, eye blind, and total coma condition, everything. A father brought the daughter back. Come on, man. I've done the same thing in other processes. I teach you about Ganses, it's you who develops it. We have a team that in the process of creating MagRab units, which actually creates energy and the rest of it. And I keep on telling them they're going wrong, but they don't listen. But they're successful. They're reaching somewhere. And it's the same in this extension of the exhibition of the fields of the universe in this. I only guide. You will never see me taking a screwdriver or making one react. And I teach as much as the knowledge can be understood, extended, and amalgamated, and used and delivered. This process is the same for all of you. The knowledge in this room has been taught openly for 15 years. I gave you the patterns. Go in the pattern, you'll see in the original pattern, we speak about the room where this plasma technology is used. It's the same room. Environment where you can go in and get fed. Environment where you can go and find wellness. In the environment that can go and you can fly with the soul. Now, mankind is ready to the interim, which is we still have to give you these little systems to be able, at least you see something, you believe it, and then when most of you learn it, we take them away. And you learn to work with the fields of the universe. In a way, long term, when 10 of you come in the room, you become the reactors for elevation of yourself and others. And there is a lot of truth in the figure 9. What would be, have you ever noticed, by the way, of the plasma? And the 1 in the beginning of that. Where you start and you release, your free, depends where you want the end to be. And where that end be is 0, beginning of the new. We gave a lot of secrets to man over thousands of years. If I draw you the plasma like this, what have you got? Beginning and the end, and where that end comes, the beginning starts, because the plasma never dies. It's you who interrupted a new cycle. So mankind needs to learn a lot and understand how we have even hidden things inside your daily life. Understand the process, understand the totality, and then add to it. Try not to build reactors, but if you become good at these, what we call so-called reactors or souls, actually, if you look at it in a very close way, it's you. Depends how you come to find out. You can create condition of interaction that in that position creates condition of manifestation energy and confirmation of existence. Your strength of the soul will become the space of the room. And you will decide in the interaction of this field with that field, I'll have this strength, I'll take orange. In this position from there to here, I become Jupiter. We just choose different name for the same thing in different dimensions. I hope now you understand why I keep on playing these intros, because there's a lot of hidden knowledge given, and today we unravel it. And listen to the intro again, and come and listen to teaching again. And you see, I've told you everything years ago. Now you have a machine, you can see it actually does. And they tell me, Mr. Keshe, where did you get all this knowledge from? Because, join me, you shall see the Creator. Go against me, you still think you won, but you will see your own demise. Even your what called gain is short term, because you actually lost when you gain. You lost to gain the knowledge of the creation, and you forever stay in the downfall of the pain of the physicality of the man. Join the knowledge and understand the knowledge. Go back on all the teachings and listen to them and connect them to the process of today. And then understand what is the next step. There's a lot to come yet. What will be beautiful in the coming time is that when the knowledge seekers grow into the field, the space of this room, they walk in as man. And in that walking in as a man, they find within the room their own soul. which does not need no walls and no confinement, and it becomes themselves. Maybe 10 of you walk in together with different strength, and when you dance and you party, you will see the work of the universe, as each one of you becomes one galaxy and one star. We ask for a lot of people, brothers and sisters. We had a few this week, last week, and husband and wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, strangers to each other. And we let them go in, and those are close. We ask them to hold hand when they sit or stand in the center. And it's amazing how they change hand very rapidly. In brothers and sisters, we see the formation of the hand rapidly changing. When you give hand, one is taker and one is giver. When you give hand, one is supporting and one is getting supported. And we do this a lot with the hand. When we hold the hand of a child, the father is watcher, carer, look after, giving love. And we see that in sibling, who's actually the giver in the house and who's the taker. We had a case, it's strange enough, but we knew it, we watched it, I watched everything. One young sister, they're not children, very mature, literally brought our system to a halt in the whole room. She's such a taker that even the universe was not big enough to take. And coming out of it, I felt nothing. But I watched our system literally coming to halt everywhere. And I told them, one of you here is stealing everything. So come in, not to give, but come in not to steal. And don't come in, I came here just to see. Go home and see how you feel, what happened. And join us to add this knowledge and bring it to its final point before we put man into space. The true space travelers of the universe. You don't need to wait so many million light years to get somewhere. You'll be in that light layers instantaneously if you understand the knowledge of the universe, as you've seen in the knowledge section. We try to explain the process, and it's for you to understand if you want to, and then add to it. And then we'll see what comes next. Thank you very much, Rick. If we can go to a break and we come back and answer some questions. And don't forget tonight at 6 Central European Time on the normal channel of live stream, we go through this week's session, some of it. And now Dean came up with the idea, let them do the audio because they don't like to be in front of the camera. So some, you hear a couple of audio recordings, which is easy for them. Would you like to come in and have a small break and we come back and then we finish with it? You got to realize a lot of you who live in Western Europe, today is a national holiday in a number of European countries and people are on holiday. So we try to make a session short enough that they could enjoy extended 4 days holidays in Western Europe. Would like to take over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And yes, we'll have a short break here in the 437th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 16th, 2022. And we'll be back shortly.